Welcome into another episode of Trust the Process Live. This past week, the NBA Draft Lottery happened. The Pelicans ended up winning that one. We'll talk about that. Another good one, Deontay Wilder knocked the living heck out of Dominic Brazil or whatever his name was.
Call that a one-hit quit.
And the NBA playoffs continue to rage on. Tonight, the Blazers take on the Warriors, trying to stave off elimination. Bucks and Raptors still going as well. But guys, our first question, and we'll go with Perry back on the show now. Should Sixers fans be rooting for the Raptors or against the Raptors in this one?
I mean, I'm not rooting for either team. It's not like I'm going to sit there and root for Kawhi Leonard, who just kicked our ass. At the same time, if the Bucks had swept the Raptors, I would have felt a lot worse about the Sixers and what I believe is the move going forward, which is to bring everyone back, and I'll explain that soon. So I'm happy that the Raptors won the game, that they seem to be fairly even with the Bucks, but I'm not going to – I can't sit there and root for them. I'm impressed at this point that I'm still watching because I'm still so salty about losing.
So here's the thing. In just about every game, the Raptors at some point or another had a pretty good lead and have managed to blow. And they almost blew the last game. I mean, it's not like they've been getting stomped start to finish in every one of these games. They've been ahead to the place where they could have won, and this could easily be 2-1, even 3-0 their way. They just didn't pull games out. That said, if you're a Sixers fan, you absolutely got to root against the Raptors winning, and here's the reason why. You don't want Kawhi Leonard to find any reason to stay in Toronto. You don't want to see him anymore. You want him to go out to L.A. and go play with Durant in L.A. with the Clippers. I mean, you don't want to see him anymore. Like, you'd rather deal with somebody else and let Toronto go back to being the basement of the division at that point. But if I'm a Sixers fan, that's what I say.
I don't know if you guys talked about when I was gone, but Kawhi might be the best player in the world.
Kawhi might be the best player. I swear to God, I said that. I called him a great player 3 years ago and said he was the best two-way player in basketball.
But he was the third best when
he's the best two-way player in basketball.
He might be.
It's not a debate. Like, the guy does it all. And the thing is, it's not like Durant plays with Golden State where he's got four other stars around him. Kawhi, literally, everybody knows he's getting the ball because you can't count on Kyle Lowry.
I mean,
it's him.
It is a little, we called it Jordan-esque.
Yes,
the way that where you know that he's getting the ball. And here's how you look at it if you're a Sixers fan. I mean, we went 7 with the Raptors, and against the Bucks, like last night, they ended up winning a game, but it took 2 overtimes and a terrible Giannis game to win the game.
Yeah.
Like,
that's because
Giannis was in a straitjacket all night. I mean, Kawhi locked him up, and that shows you he is a problem.
And I don't want to be a pessimist, but it really would have pained me to watch the Sixers reserve get blown out by like 30 points to have the starters come in and play marginally plus. I don't know. My feelings on the team, and I'll ask you, we'll start with you, E.T. We mentioned last show, Brett Brown, you didn't think that it was good to bring him back. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you were a Sixers fan, how happy would you be about this move?
If I'm a Sixers fan?
If you were.
A 0, only because, I mean, you can't, I mean, that's these.
For what purpose?
I think Brett Brown is a problem. He doesn't know how to coach them to win. He blew so many games during the regular season, and in the playoffs, the dribble handoff offense is not an offense. He hasn't forced Embiid to get in shape. He hasn't forced Ben Simmons to even try to take jump shots. And so now you've got a situation where you've got a team of a core that many people argued had the best starting 5 beside the Warriors in the NBA, and they can't get out of the second round. I don't want to hear about, well, Nick Nurse had Kawhi Leonard. That's one person, literally against 5. I don't want to hear the excuses. Any other coach would be getting crucified with the type of talent that Brett Brown had to not be able to get out the second round.
Well, that's not true because I can give you a direct example. Brad Stevens, is he getting crucified?
Doesn't have the same level of talent. Stop it.
Before the season.
Stop it. They do not have the same level of talent. The best player on their team is Kyrie.
Before the season, they were the odds-on favorites to come out of the East, were they not?
It was arguable. I'll give you
that. Vegas had them as the favorite to come out of the East. They were.
Right, based on odds.
And they got smoked in the second round, and they had the same team all year. The Sixers changed teams twice during the season. Brett Brown.
They were the odds-on favorite because of the fact the Sixers made trades.
Brett Brown in his first 2 years had 104 wins. How many coaches can say that in their first 2 years with real talent, trying to play basketball, trying to win games, won 104 games, won 2 playoff series, and almost won a third playoff series?
3 top
Listen,
20. He's got
if
3 top
next
20
year we
players
come
on his
back,
team.
if next year we come back with the same team, and we don't go to the second round, or there's still shot clock violations at the end of a playoff game.
Oh, the 3 that they had.
Or he doesn't make necessary changes that help us get over the top. I'm with you. Maybe we need to bring someone else in.
Maybe.
What we need right now is consistency. We need to have this group come back with a year together and go at it. Because they didn't have, A, they didn't have a bench, and B, they didn't have the unity that you need to be able to compete in the playoffs. We were together for 20 games with that team before the playoffs. That's it.
Here's my argument to that. Jimmy Butler's 30 years old. You're going to give him a 5-year contract just to bring his team back.
He's 29, and I would give him a 4-year contract.
He'll be 30 years old by the time he gets into the season next year. You're going to give a 30-year-old wing who is marginally athletic, who's already shown that he has a bit of a malcontent personality, a multi-year
When
contract
did he have
with
a
a young
malcontent personality with the Sixers?
he's auditioning for a contract. He's going to be on his best behavior there. But we saw how he blew up things in Minnesota. We saw how he blew up things in Chicago. What makes you think insanity? He's done it twice everywhere else he's been. Why would he not do it here? Once he gets his money, he's got no reason to be the good guy that he's
Perry,
been.
before you respond, let us know, share the show and let us know in the comments, what do you think? Should they bring back Jimmy Butler? Will they bring back Jimmy Butler? And we also have a question from social media. Sean, what do you have for us?
Yeah, just a personal comment here, Jake, backing up Mr. Perry list. It was 67.5 wins was the over-under for the Celtics before the season. The Bucks were in the 50s. Toronto was right there with them. Philadelphia right there with them. So they were the odds-on betting favorite coming in.
They went out and got 2 All-Stars on the roster, though. The Sixers went and added Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler. I guarantee you that the Boston Celtics wouldn't have been the favorites if they had those guys at the start of the season. Okay. Let's be real.
You're just talking like a hater.
Oh, okay.
It's a good thing you're not running the show because, truthfully, what they need and what all sports teams need, if you have a competent coach, is you need to just have time. You need continuity, okay? People make changes too quickly in sports. They always do.
Speaking about
how many years has Brett been coach?
Of a real team, 2 years.
How many years has he been the coach is all I'm asking.
What does that have to do with anything? We were trying to lose for all those years before that.
Speaking
And there it
of
is, my
who's
point.
running the show, Elton Brand, as you guys have mentioned, made some really drastic moves to change this team. How would you grade Elton Brand's season on like an A to F scale?
I think he made moves that made sense at the time, that showed that we were trying to win. They show that we are doing what we can to put ourselves in a position to win a championship. If now the ownership doesn't go out and spend the money they need to go over the cap, pay luxury tax, and re-sign these guys, then I think it's a kind of a disaster.
I mean, that's not his fault.
But no, here's the thing. He needed to talk to ownership before making those moves and say, hey, if I do these, are you going to bring these guys back? And if they said yes, then that's what it is. So I think that I was thrilled with both those moves when he made them. I don't know if this was a possibility, but I wish we could have given Fultz instead of Covington in the Timberwolves trade when Fultz still had a little bit of talent or value or whatever. But assuming we couldn't do that, he made the trades that we had to make. We weren't going to do anything with the really fun homegrown guys that we had. Covington is a very good defense player, but he's nowhere near Jimmy Butler as a guy who can take a game over. And Dario, I love, is nowhere near Tobias Harris. So I'm happy with the moves as long as we re-sign those guys. You can replace Landry Shamet. You cannot replace Harris and Butler's talent.
Before you respond, what grade? A to F? Somewhere.
I mean, I'll give him a B+ just because we didn't win, but I think he did what he should have done.
Gotcha, B+.
I give him, based on the moves he made, an A. Let's go through the history of the Sixers GMs and any great moves that they've made. Stefanski, terrible. Billy King, terrible.
We're going back to when I was in high school right now?
It doesn't matter. You can run any recent GM down.
Well, Colangelo,
terrible.
Everybody's in that.
Right.
Me sitting here, you're sitting here compared to Brian Colangelo.
The argument I'm making is none of the GMs, the last 5 or 6 GMs together haven't made the moves that Elton Brand made literally in 3.5 months.
Well, Hinkie put him in position to make
Oh, God, goodbye.
I mean,
goodbye. I knew it was going to come in some way back to Hinkie.
Are you not intelligent enough to see how he did? I don't understand.
All right, you're right, because Hinkie went and pulled the trigger on the trade for Jimmy Butler that nobody saw coming, and also pulled the trade for Tobias Harris that nobody saw coming.
Who did we trade for Jimmy Butler?
Guys that were on the bench.
And how did we get those guys?
Acquisitions.
Okay.
Well,
all right, you can dance around all you want, but Hinkie put us in position to make those.
So
Colangelo was there and didn't make any of those trades.
He didn't. He messed everything up.
Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. Elton Brand is going to have a lot on his hands to try and get this team back to title contending shape. Perry, why don't you break down the cap situation and this entire offseason here?
So this is the offseason, and we've been talking about this really since the beginning of the show. This is the offseason where we really need to solidify what will be the next 5 years, because Ben Simmons is going to extend his contract next season, okay? And once he does, we are far over the cap, and we really have limited flexibility. So what you need to do right now is you need to re-sign Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris. Preferably to 4-year deals instead of 5, or Tobias, I would do a 5 But on that 5, I wouldn't give the max. Like, if you're going to give him 5, he doesn't need 190. He could do 5 for 150, I think is the right number for him. And Jimmy, 4-year max. And what that does, if you don't know what a cap hold is, so because we have these guys already, we have what's called their bird rights. We have cap holds on them. So Jimmy Butler's cap hold is $30.7 million. Tobias's cap hold is $22.2 million. If we let those guys go, instead of that $53 million that it costs for the two of them, in order to bring 2 guys of that quality, it would cost us about $70 million. So they'll cost us the same in terms of what the owners are paying them, but according to the cap this year and how we stay under the cap, they count for significantly less. So you need to use the cap holds on Tobias, on Jimmy, on JJ, on Mike Scott, on JJ. Run it back with the, like I said, continuity. It gives you the ability to bring in one guy on the mid-level exception, which is $9.25 million. And you could do that for 4 years. If you want, you can actually split it over 2 guys. So you can do a $5 million guy and a 4.25. I think we'll do a $9.25 million backup center. And then you have what's called the biannual exception, which is another $2.5 million. On top of that, we have our rookies. We need to hit these picks. We need one of, if not 2 of, the 5 top 40 picks we have to hit. We would have one more if Colangelo didn't trade it for, he traded what is the first pick of the second round this year for 30 games of Trevor Booker. He gave the first pick of the second round and Jaleel to get Booker for 30 games before cutting him. He's the worst GM ever. So what I'm saying is you run it back with everybody. You add a $9.25 million mid-level exception free agent. You add the rookies, and you go for it. And that absolutely is the way to handle it.
Still doesn't fix their problem.
So, okay, so you mentioned their problem, and it like even pains me to say this.
Ben Simmons becoming a better shooter will fix a lot of problems.
Okay.
And Embiid being healthier will fix problems.
Let me ask you
Embiid stopped living at Chick-fil-A.
What can a GM do about that?
Let me ask you a hypothetical question.
I can get to that.
Let's say halfway through this upcoming season, Ben Simmons still doesn't know how to shoot.
You mean his brother isn't coaching him up at all?
Do you consider, if you're the Sixers, moving Ben Simmons, as ridiculous as it sounds, for someone who perfectly fits the system, perfectly fits around the stars that they have in place, and gives them, in the short term at least, a better opportunity, a better fit to go for a title?
Absolutely not.
Oh, God.
No way. I mean, if you ask me for who, maybe I'll say that might make sense, but absolutely not.
Well, okay.
Here's the problem. Everyone is acting like he's at his peak right now. Look at Giannis when Giannis was 21 years old. Could he do what he's doing right now? Not even close. Why is everyone acting like this is the Ben Simmons you're going to get forever?
You know what the difference between Giannis and Ben Simmons is? Giannis realized deficiencies in his game and got in the gym and worked on them. Ben Simmons has known since he's been in the NBA, he can't shoot. He doesn't even try to shoot.
Okay.
He doesn't even try.
Okay.
People wouldn't kill him if he tried and missed. He doesn't even try.
No, it's better.
Then he's got his brother as a shooting coach.
Yeah. It's
nice
better to miss a bunch
play.
of threes than to just drop 17.
It doesn't keep the defense honest at all. He doesn't shoot.
Okay.
Everybody knows how to defend him.
And we still won
Listen,
54
if you
games.
sat there and you watched him in the playoffs, you know what they did? Ben, go stand in the corner and act like you're a three-point shooter and nobody believes. It was 5-on-4 on offense.
Yet
there's no purpose of having him on the floor.
He's still an all-star with
Regular season doesn't matter. It's about what you do in the playoffs.
Okay, and he still had very good playoff games in half the playoff games.
Okay.
I agree with you. In order to become the best player in the league or a top 5 player in the league, he obviously has to develop a shot. But he's 21 or just turned 22 years old. I don't understand why everyone acts like that's as good as he's ever going to be. It's ludicrous. At 22, Joel Embiid wasn't even playing yet. Everyone at that time wanted to trade Joe. Oh, he'll never play. We need to get rid of him, right? Are you happy we didn't? Everyone lives in the moment, and it's ridiculous because the guy is going to have another 12 years to his career, and he's going to improve every year. It's ludicrous to act like this is the Ben Simmons you're going to get forever.
Are you not the same guy who said 2 years ago not to give up on Markelle Fultz because he had potential and he's a kid and give him a chance to play?
And then once I realized
and how did he turn out?
Because he's a huge vagina. All right? You ever see the Curb Your Enthusiasm with this? Like, he's a huge vagina.
All right. Well, you know what? Look, on that note, you let us know. Share the show in the comments. Let us know what you think. Should they trade Simmons to keep? What should they do in the offseason? But moving right along into halftime now, here is a word from today's sponsor, Indigo Bike. thank you to Indigo Bike Share. You've seen them all around the city. You can use them to get from place to place when you're in a hurry, possibly go to the gynecologist, visit Markel Fultz while you're there, say hello to him. But moving right along to rapid fire, the NBA draft lottery happened this past week, and the Pelicans won with a 6% chance.
Let's go, Grizz!
Now, what do they do with Anthony Davis? You have Zion. Will AD stay?
Before you answer, most Knicks fans are probably trying to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. My God.
How
bad can you be?
They had a 14% chance, and they acted like it was like a foregone conclusion.
Right. It was just, oh, man. And they didn't even get a top one.
They were devastated, like, oh, my God, I was sure we had the number one.
Although I'm going to argue that R.J. Barrett will be a better pro than Zion Williamson.
Okay, well, that
not even close.
Okay. All right.
Save that.
So,
please save that.
Please.
So we
please.
have
Zion Williamson is an athletic version of Corliss Williamson.
Oh.
Athletic version of Corliss Williamson.
That's a phenomenal take right there. Okay, Perry, what do you think?
I think I keep him. Look, there are guys that are NBA ready when they're 19, and Zion Williamson is absolutely one of them. He's not a more athletic Corliss Williamson. He's a more athletic, bigger Charles Barkley. That's what he is. And he's going to contribute immediately. They're going to be the third or fourth best team in the West immediately with Davis, Zion, and Drew Holiday, and they can add a free agent because they have some money. I think there's no chance that David Griffin makes a move for anything less than like maybe if the Celtics offered them Tatum and Brown and 2 of the draft picks, but they're not going to because they're probably losing Kyrie. I don't see a deal out there that makes sense for them. The Knicks can probably offer like the 3rd pick, Knox, Mitchell Robinson, Dennis Smith, which is to me not enough because you know what you do? You see how he vibes with Zion. If he really likes him, he stays. If he doesn't, at the trade deadline, you'll get the same exact offer. So I sit tight, do nothing. I will guarantee you AD will still be with the Pelicans.
I am in the same boat. Really quick, Sean, did you have something? I saw a question go up.
No comments or anything yet from the people on social media land. Just wanted a quick 10 to say, the Grizzlies got Ja Morant. It's a great day. Back to you guys.
All right, one of the 3 Grizzly fans chimes in.
And like all of America. Listen, I don't think that he stays there, and here's the reason why. He realizes that he's not going to win a championship. The Pelicans will not be a third seed in the West with Zion Williamson. There won't be a second. Stop it. Listen, I need you to stop doing lines or whatever it is that y'all do before this show because y'all are talking crazy. First of all, the Pelicans need They need a lot more to build out in order to be competitive. They had Boogie Cousins and AD on the same roster.
Terrible mixture.
No, it didn't because they played an in-out game. And what I'm telling you is even with that, they couldn't make the playoffs. They're not a playoff-ready team even with adding Zion Williamson because as much as everybody likes Zion Williamson, he's a big guy. He can get to the rim. He can dunk on people, blah, 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 blah. The guy can't shoot. When he's playing up against guys, because what's he going to play? He's too slow to play the 3, and he's too short to play the 4. He's stuck in between. So when he matches up against guys that are as big as him, playing the same position, he's going to struggle.
So,
I can't wait to see it either.
That's a good take to have on camera. And let me remind you guys,
I like him, but I don't think he's that
rapid fire. 30 seconds per host. We give our answers and we move right along.
For like 3 minutes. Stop it.
It's a reminder to both of you.
Can you tell me? I'm pretty sure I was actually 30. He was about 2 minutes.
Okay. Is Brooks Koepka added another major to his resume? Is he the next big thing in golf?
Go ahead, golfer.
He's not next. He already is the big thing. He's won 4 of the past 7 majors. I mean, the guy ran away with this tournament. He had to fall apart on the back 9 on Sunday to even make it somewhat interesting, and he still won by 3 strokes, 2 strokes, whatever. He's the next big thing, but it's not even next. He is the big thing right now. Tiger's still the biggest draw, but Brooks Koepka is, by a good margin, the best player in the world.
So here's what I'll say, and you can go back as far as you want. Golfing, number one, outside of Tiger Woods, changes like, I don't know, every 6 weeks you hear.
Yeah, but how many guys win 4 majors?
What do you mean? Besides Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know how many Rory McIlroy had, but at one point he was the next great thing. Who was the other kid, the blonde-haired kid?
I mean, he is too.
I don't know. Whatever. Listen, golfing
Spieth as well.
Yeah, Spieth is the other guy. So listen, here's the thing with golf. These guys change all the time. It's great. It's fun. It's exciting. But the draw is Tiger Woods. If Tiger Woods is winning, that's what people want to see. It's great that Brooks Koepka had a great weekend. But 99% of the people who watch this show, outside of people who watch golf, couldn't pick Brooks Koepka out of a lineup. But everybody can pick Tiger Woods out of a lineup.
That's true.
So that's the draw.
That's true.
All right, moving right along. This past Saturday, there was a fight. Well, I don't really even know if you can call it
to this day.
Deontay Wilder punching the life out of his opponent once more. 40 knockouts in 41 victories, I think. So the big fight that everyone is looking for is Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. E.T., who would you take between the two?
Anthony Joshua. He's a more polished fighter. I think Deontay Wilder is a very strong and athletic fighter. But Joshua is a lot more polished in terms of his boxing acumen and his ability to be more tactical. I also think that a lot of people have heard of Anthony Joshua but haven't really seen him fight. And I think that he would surprise Wilder because he's just as big, can throw as good in terms of punching, and can also take punches. Be a good fight. I'll go Joshua.
I am not going to pick against the guy that said on camera in an interview that he's looking to murder somebody in the ring.
And get paid.
And he was serious about it.
Yeah.
I don't think he was promoting the fight. He was literally saying, I'm going to murder this guy, and I'm excited about it.
This means what we do.
I don't know how you mess with that guy. So I'll give a lot of props to Tyson Fury, who got knocked out by that dude.
Got up like
Laid
The
there for 4
Undertaker.
seconds and popped up like The Undertaker and was like, all right, let's go. That is a scary man. You actually see Wilder's face like, oh, shit. He stood up.
He got up like he didn't expect it.
Yeah, AJ versus Wilder would be a great fight for all boxing fans. But in the basketball arena, we saw Drake get in Giannis's face the other night. Who's the better superfan, Spike Lee or Drake?
So I'm going to go, listen, there's nobody a bigger fan than Spike Lee. Spike Lee has literally been a Knicks fan since before most of us were alive. I mean, the guy literally has been sitting at the front row making movies and still every single game. I mean, he was the guy that literally, Reggie Miller taunted him at games. That's where those types of things started from. Before guys got down there, Jack Nicholson, all these other guys, Spike Lee was the one that used to literally antagonize players on the court. So I'm going to go Spike Lee. He has rolled with the Knicks, good, bad, right, wrong. He's not here who shows up only in playoff games. When they're terrible, he still shows up. I respect him.
As much as I'd like to disagree with you, I would never choose Drake. He missed the playoff game. Spike Lee would never miss a playoff game.
never.
I'm not picking Drake. No way. Spike Lee. Screw it.
Especially
I
not
don't want
after-
to talk about it anymore. I'm so annoyed.
Cancel the word Raptors. But so the most watched TV show ever. That's not official,
Well, that's
but
not
I'm
true.
assuming.
No, it's
I'm
only
assuming,
since streaming started when
Okay,
not,
since
not as
streaming
many
started,
people watch
whatever
TV
qualifier. The
anymore.
most watched thing this past week, Game of Thrones wrapped up. Guys, did you like the ending?
I did. I think everybody that didn't is like a little baby. Like they're so salty that, you know, A, it's over, which I am too, but like that it wasn't the same kind of long, drawn out, superbly well written part that we saw for 6 years that George R. R. Martin wrote. Once the last 2 seasons started, it wasn't his books anymore. It was the showrunners, Weiss and Benioff. And clearly, they rushed it. They're trying to move on to other projects. I think they're doing the new Star Wars. So I get that. What it was incredibly entertaining. It was the most... It was the biggest, most extravagant TV show of all time. Props to everybody that worked on that show, the set pieces, the special effects. It was insane how good they were. And it was exciting. It was entertaining every week. I think that it needed 2 more episodes to clear up what happened from, and spoiler alert, if you didn't watch it, you're an asshole, but from the time where John kills Danny to the weird council meeting, they needed like 2 episodes to show how it got there.
Yep.
So that part's a little annoying, but ultimately how it ended, I mean, I don't know what you would expect. Like, it wasn't going to be John. He never was going to be it. He's been a little kind of like puss the whole last season. And, so I needed a little more to see how it got to that point, but overall I'm happy with how it got there. I'm happy that it got there.
I'm not going to give all of mine because I'm saving it for my tap out, but all I will say is hell no. I was very disappointed with several of the episodes in this last season, and I'll talk about why in a minute.
All right, well, speaking of that, that's all that we have for our first 2 seconds. Moving right along now into Tap Out. TT, why don't you go ahead and give us a spiel?
All right, great. So the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones was like being in a relationship of celibacy until marriage. And then on your wedding day, your wife gets drunk and falls asleep midway through. That's what the experience was like watching that last episode. It was god-awful, not because of the fact that some of it made sense, but because of the fact that for all the excitement that followed when Arya killed the Night King and how literally people around the world were cheering at the top of their lungs. I heard people screaming on my block literally when it happened, to watching this ending where they were like, this doesn't make sense. There's a lot of things going on here. People finding Starbucks cups on set like there was Starbucks in the BC 200s or whatever day it was that they were there. Just a lot of little things that seemed rushed. And for me to wait 18 months for that, to get that as the backdrop, was frustrating and very, very irritating. They could have done a better job. They could have spaced it out and gave us more episodes. Like Perry stated, listen, there was no need to rush it. People were locked in. You could have put 3 more seasons of it out and just stretched this whole last season out as long as you wanted to. Made the Night King battle 2 episodes instead of 1. You could have done 100 different things, but they rushed to get the other stuff, and we as people suffered for it. I get that some folks liked it, and it kind of tied into the books and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's fine and that's great, but from what I saw, from what I expected, for all the buildup, what was the point of Jon being Aegon Targaryen's son? What was the whole point of if he's just going to go run off with the wildlings and go walk off and do nothing with his life? Whether he wanted to be king or not. What was the point of Varys writing the notes and sending out the little birdies if nothing was going to come of it? There were so many little things in the show that made 0 sense in terms of the way it played out that they could have done a better job. That's my tap out.
All right, that's a hell of a tap out.
Sounds super salty.
Yeah, I was salty. I expected better. I'm sitting there for an hour and a half. I'm like, all right, so is something climactic going to happen? Like, even though Dany died. Dany died so dry. Listen, even Cersei and Jaime died terrible. I expected her to get some gruesome, like, fake out catch 52 death. She didn't have that. It was bad. I hated it.
If you didn't notice, one of the main themes of the whole show, well, two. One is broken bastards and like the forgotten people, whatever.
Yep, they talked about it.
Right, so that kind of came to fruition with Bran and Tyrion, right?
Which I would talk about, but I forgot.
And second, that you're not going to get what you want. Like, life doesn't work out the way you want it, and I think that was one of the main points of it. It's like, you get attached to the Starks, and then the Red Wedding happens. You get attached to Jon, and he doesn't do shit for the last season. He really didn't do anything.
I wanted him in Grey Worm to fight
dragon,
bad.
Didn't really fight, and all right, so whatever. So I think people just get too mad, just like they did with Sopranos when that ended.
That was terrible too.
And actually, over the years, it has grown on people. People realized it actually was good, because I think what happened was that you, as the viewer, got shot in the end. You fade to black, and it makes sense the longer it goes, the more that ending made sense. But whatever, I don't need to get into it. I haven't been here for a little while. For those of you that don't know, I think everybody here does. I had a 3rd son. Thank you, everybody.
Doing the army over there, man.
If I have some bags under my eyes or seem a little tired or said anything incorrectly, it might be because I don't sleep anymore.
Very smart.
My wife sleeps less than I do, and my mother-in-law is living in my house, which I love her. Thank you so much for living there, Mom. It's great. Not annoying at all.
Clean it up. That's right.
My son's name is Kai Parker Liss. He's the man. I'm very hopeful that at least one of my 3 sons is a phenomenal golfer, and they'll be the next big thing.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, baby.
There you go.
Named after Kyrie, of course.
Right.
That's right. Of course.
Kyrie
So
Turner.
thanks for having me back, and to update you all. I will probably be here maybe once or twice a month. Other than that, my guys over here are going to hold it down.
There it is.
All right. Only thing I'll say, closing remarks, I love Game of Thrones, but we're now on to Westworld. That's now number 1 on the HBO hierarchy. I don't know if you guys have seen it. E.T.'s face says he hasn't.
I'm getting into Chernobyl.
But yeah, right. A bunch of good stuff. The internet will surely fanboy over it, but that's what we have here for Trusted Process Live on My New Philly. Thank you for watching, as always, on My New Philly, where something's always new and everything is always Philly.
John Morant to Memphis, baby!
I'm the biggest hit with Crit in 2015. Once I finish this is
That's a good name you picked right there, Fliss.
No, baby.
I like that name, Paul.
You do.
Congrats.
Woo, it's hot.